Hi, it's time for another math easy solution. Today we're going to discuss a pretty interesting topic, and that's on YouTube's demonetization policy, and more specifically towards their controversial news part of that policy. And before I get further, like always, you can download these exact notes in the link below, and also subscribe via email, my email newsletter at mes.fm/subscribe, and donate at mes.fm/donate if you like my videos. So anyways, moving forward, so YouTube demonetization. So what happened was recently one of my videos was demonetized by YouTube, and here's the email I got as a screenshot, and it states, "Hi Math Easy Solutions. After reviewing your video, we confirmed that the content in your video or video details aren't advertiser friendly. As a result, your video can't be monetized." And that video was the Syrian Civil War Part 1 Aleppo media narrative, which I went over. It's a pretty interesting video. You should go check that out to see the different media takes on Aleppo. And then also it says YouTube reserves the right to make the final decision about video monetization. If you're unsure what kind of content can be monetized, please visit our help center. Thanks to the YouTube team. So as you can see from the email, no specific reason was given. They just said there aren't advertiser friendly with a link to it. So it's not a specific reason. So here's a link to my video, and I made that video December 18th, just a little while ago. Here's a thumbnail of how the video thumbnail is, because that's also part of the policy. As you can see, it's just plain just images of news and war, etc. And then so when you go into their support system where they go over the content guidelines, so here's a link to their support website, and then from there I've copied and pasted their policy right here. So advertiser friendly content guidelines. So advertiser-friendly content is content that's appropriate for all ages. It has little to no inappropriate or mature content in the video stream, thumbnail, or metadata, such as in the video title. If the video does contain inappropriate content, the context is usually newsworthy or comedic, and the creator's intent is to inform or entertain, not to offend or shock. So from my video, it's clearly not. Yeah, it's from this. It seems like to be advertiser friendly. But now, if you go over to their policy on what's considered inappropriate for advertising, content that is considered not advertiser friendly includes but is not limited to sexually suggestive content, including partial nudity and sexual humor, violence, including display of serious injury and events related to violent extremism, inappropriate language, including harassment, profanity, and vulgar language, promotion of drugs and regulated substances, including selling, use, and abuse of such items. Again, these are all really vague terms. I don't necessarily agree with any or all of them. But here's the one that I'm pretty sure is why my video was demonetized. So controversial or sensitive subjects and events, including subjects related to war, political conflicts, natural disasters, and tragedies, even if graphic imagery is not shown. This is an absolutely ridiculous policy. Anyway, so and then also part of that it says, if any of the above describes any portion of your video, then the video may not be approved for monetization. If monetization is approved, your video may not be eligible for all available ad formats. YouTube reserves the right to not monetize video, as well as suspend monetization features on channels that repeatedly submit videos violating our policy. So they can even suspend channels for these for going against these really vague guidelines here. Yeah, so but clearly my video fits into the controversial or sensitive subjects and events category. That's this one over here, because mine was on the Aleppo Syrian war. But my take on it is basically the advertiser-friendly label is actually very misleading, because the same advertisers through the same ad network, Google, AdSense, here I just included AdSense and AdWords as well. The AdWords is where they advertise, AdSense is the publishers making money. Yeah, and basically advertisers can have their ads shown on websites that don't follow these same YouTube policies. So those are YouTube policies, except they're saying it's not advertiser friendly, except websites that include those very same stuff, the very same policies here that go against them still have those same advertisers on it. And here is an example. This is from Fox News, and they're talking about the Aleppo ceasefire, etc. Let's just go to it. So yeah, if you go here, this is just an example of the website. So this is talking about Aleppo, about the war. So this would be considered a controversial topic. But as you can see on the right, this ad, this is a Google ad. You can click it. It's a google.com AdSense ad. This is through their network, AdSense, AdWords. As you can see there, AdSense or AdWords. So this doesn't appear to be any issues with the advertiser. And to show you that this is the same kind of ads on YouTube, we can go over here and just show you. I'll just click on my video. So if you go my video, there's clearly no AdSense ads or AdWords ads. And then if you just click another video, let's just go to, here's a political electoral college one. So this one has ads. Yeah, here I just refreshed it again just to show you the ad that I wanted to show. So as you can see, there's ads over here on this video. And yeah, this is a pretty interesting video you should check out. And this is on politics, on the electoral college and popular vote. But as you can see on the right, there's an ad right here. And basically it's the same exact ad network. So the Google support system there. So basically it's the exact same ad network, the same kind of advertisers that go onto it. And even if you look at this specific ad, this is an interesting one. This is about Call of War, free World War II strategy game. So this is even talking about this ad itself is against YouTube's policy, which is just mind-boggling. So there's literally nothing to do with the advertisers. In fact, some advertisers prefer videos on news about war or political conflicts, etc. So it's clearly nothing to do with the advertiser. So let's go over that. So I just wanted to show you that in fact it was nothing to do with advertisers. So I want to write that here as well. In fact, advertisers also, this is further, have options to remove their ads from any specific video or channel category, including individual channels altogether. If you go to this link, here's another support system, support website of Google's talking about targeting on YouTube ads through their AdWords advertising platform. And here it says topics: target your video ads to specific topics on YouTube, and the display network topic targeting lets you reach a broad range of videos, channels, and websites related to the topics you select. For example, you target the automotive topic, then your ad will show on YouTube to people watching videos about cars. And if you do one about war or whatever, then it will target people watching videos about war. So you can target whoever you want. So it's nothing about advertiser friendly, because they can choose to show their ads or not. And also keywords, depending on your video ad format, you could show your video ads based on words or phrases. In other words, keywords related to a YouTube video, YouTube channel, or type of website that your audience is interested in. So thus, the YouTube policy should be changed because it appears to not be about being advertiser friendly. If YouTube does not want to monetize specific types of content, then it should say so plainly, as opposed to deflect blame to advertisers, because it's clearly nothing to do with advertisers. And my view on the policy, in fact, I've also been an advertiser, and I am currently. So I've personally advertised many times on YouTube, and I made sure to target my ads to the relevant topics or users. So I never had an issue with advertiser friendly or not. I've also run ads for a large volume of traffic, which included targeting any and all videos on YouTube, including controversial or whatnot. Because if people click in to watch those ads, then that's their choice, regardless of what they're currently watching. So thus, I never had an issue with videos that weren't advertiser friendly in quotation marks. And basically, if there's videos I didn't want my ads to show, I'll just target that myself. So my main concern with this policy, particularly with regarding videos related to controversial in quotation, because again, that's vague. What does that necessarily mean? Controversial news is that it greatly hurts the revenue streams of independent and alternative news media. On the other hand, government and corporate news outlets receive billions in funding, thus would only benefit, with alternative media losing a revenue source. So basically what this means is independent people, like even in my video, I'm just an independent person doing media news analysis on the Syrian war. And if my videos are demonetized, well, that hurts me greatly. But then government and corporate news outlets, they receive a lot of money, billions, in fact. They benefit because then they have less people competing with them. And even if government or corporate news outlets don't have, if their videos are also demonetized, they don't really care because they're getting money from somewhere else, and then all this does is remove competition with them. So examples of state-sponsored news outlets that receive billions in taxpayer dollars are the CBC and BBC. This is CBC is Canadian, BBC is the British or UK news outlet. Here's Wikipedia from the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, CBC. So for the fiscal year of 2015, the CBC received $1.036 billion from government funding and took 5% cuts, etc. But then the Liberal Party, when they returned power, they restored their $115 million that was cut, etc. It's just some random stuff. But then also this year, actually a few weeks ago, the CBC issued a request for $400 million in additional funding. Absolutely astonishing. My question is, why do they even have government-paid news outlets? So here's the BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation. According to BBC's 2013-2014 annual report, its total income was $5 billion, which can be broken down as follows. $3.7 billion in license fees collected from householders, that's the taxes. Some other one from their other commercial businesses, and also further $240 million from government grants, etc. So they're getting this about $4 billion from government, and they have some other ones over here, royalties overseas, and their other businesses. But despite billions in taxpayer dollars, their YouTube presence is not that big relatively to many others. So here's their link to their YouTube About page. You can go see they have about 6,000, CBC has about 6,700 videos, 250,000 subscribers, and 115 million views. So 115 million views, but they receive $1 billion a year in taxpayer funded. And they joined about 2 years ago, July 25th, 2014. And then compared with the BBC again, they receive about $5 billion per year. Unbelievable. But for that, $4 billion of that is from taxpayer. They have about 5,600 videos and million subscribers and 270-ish million views. And they joined in 2006, about 10 years ago. But here's the thing I want to show is that billions in taxpayer dollars don't always mean more views. An example of an independent alternative news outlet gaining a large YouTube footprint with very little funding is the Rebel Media. It's pretty interesting news site. You can go to their YouTube channel there. And basically what they have is about close to 5,000 videos, 460,000 subscribers, and over 120 million views. And they just joined last year, February 14, 2015. And what they are, Rebel Media, is their Wikipedia page. It's just a conservative Canadian online political and social commentary platform founded in February 2015 by former Sun News Network host Ezra Lafant. A crowdfunding campaign raised roughly $100,000 for the project. In the time since Rebel has launched a pay service, encouraging subscribers to pay $8 a month for access to the media outlets' daily, weekly, and semi-monthly YouTube shows. So this is a tiny amount of funding, $100,000, but you can see they've only been out for a year. They have 120 million views, about half of BBC's. With BBC gets about 5 billion every single year. They've been out for 10 years on YouTube, and this is almost catching up to BBC. Even their video output, their video is almost the same number of videos there. So they're doing more work, getting more views per video than they are. And then also CBC, they have more views than CBC, and CBC's out for 2 years, and they receive about 1 billion per year. And this is a tiny news outlet with $100,000 investment fund that they just crowdfunding campaign. So just people paying, and basically they're getting a large audience. And also another example of corporate sponsored media that have huge financial backing is the New York Times, yet even their YouTube presence don't necessarily align with the amount of funding they receive. So this is their YouTube link there. New York Times have about 8,000 videos, about 700,000 subscribers, and about 300 million views. And they've joined for about 10 years in 2006 there. So this is only about 3 times the size of the Rebel Media. Rebel's been out for a year, and remember, Rebel has a $100,000 crowdfunding campaign to start off. And also now, if you look at, here's from their Wikipedia page on New York Times. New York Times reported that its parent company, New York Times Company, had reached an agreement to borrow $250 million from Carlos Slim, a Mexican businessman, the world's second richest person, to help the newspaper company finance its businesses. So this is just an example of the type of funding they get. So it's $250 million, yet their total number of views is barely more than the Rebel Media. So this is just one example. There's many others out there, and it's pretty interesting stuff. So basically, more money does not necessarily mean more views. So my conclusion from this is, well, news outlets, whether government, corporate, or independent, play an important role in shaping the views and opinions of the public at large. And so YouTube's vague policy on controversial news financially hurts independent and alternative news outlets, while at the same time benefiting government and corporate-sponsored media that have billions to spare. Yeah, so their policy is literally just hurting independent media. And YouTube has the ability to create a true meritocracy of news media in which the users decide which video or channel resonate with them the most. So thus, YouTube should not get in the way of channels creating news content either directly or indirectly. And as well as, didn't include here, yeah, and here I just paused and just added this here. So basically, also YouTube should change at the very least their advertiser-friendly label in their policy, because it does not appear to be actually anything to do with the actual advertisers. And I am one as well, and I highly disagree with their advertiser-friendly label. And I've just showed you that it doesn't matter. Some advertisers actually want videos about controversial topics like war and political conflicts, etc., because they're, like that one I just showed you, they're promoting an app on World War II, etc., and also on their other on their other websites, they can have the very same ad network YouTube uses onto there. So advertisers don't really care, and they're going to show their ads elsewhere on the same networks. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's the same network. So YouTube has to at least change their policy label or wording. And another question, just to end this video, is raised is why do some governments even have their own taxpayer-funded news outlets? I'm not even sure. What is that even supposed to mean? So if it's government paid and they're telling you the news, they're obviously going to be biased towards the government's agenda. Otherwise, they're going to stop receiving funding. So that's a question for another day, and I might do that in later videos. So anyways, that is all for today. Hopefully you'll learn. It's pretty interesting stuff. Hopefully YouTube just changes their ways and then stops demonetizing news videos and other political videos, because it just hurts alternative media, but at the same time benefiting corporate and government-sponsored news outlets. Anyways, that's all for today. Hopefully you'll learn, and like always, you can download these exact notes in the link below. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for another Math Easy solution.